Hello and welcome to the Wisconsin Arts Board's 50th Anniversary Grant Program Final Report How-To session. I'm Karen Geschko. I'm the Assistant Director at the Wisconsin Arts Board, and with me is...
I'm Caitlin Burrell. I'm the Folk and Traditional Arts Coordinator at the Arts Board.
When you're ready to do your final report for this grant, we will have sent you instructions on what narrative questions to answer and what support material to upload into your final report. Right now, we're going to go through a couple slides that enumerate that, and then we'll walk you through the application form. The narrative questions that we're asking you to answer in your final report include: describe the arts-related project that this grant award supported. Reference the project description that you submitted with your original application, so you can kind of ground yourself in what you told us you would do. And then we're going to, and just a couple sentences on that, and then describe the project that actually happened. The first thing to do when you get into that description is tell us about any changes that occurred between the project being proposed in June or whenever that was, and when the project actually happened. Include the name and the art form of the artists that you involved, if there were artists, and almost all of you had artists. And these can be avocational artists as well as artists who are paid for their work, professional artists. Go ahead and include a schedule of the activities that occurred within your project. So if you were doing a series of artist workshops, what was the date that the first workshop happened? And what was the date when the last workshop happened? And then describe how the project engaged the people of your community. And if your board was deeply involved in the project, and that was the part of the community that was engaged, then that's what you're going to talk about. If you did a series of workshops at your library, then you're talking about a broader community. So that's the piece that we'd like to see here. This narrative does not need to be more than a page long. We just would like to know what the project ended up being and how it went. And then support materials. To support the application and kind of give us a view of what happened with your project, please upload 3 digital images of the project in process or the resulting product. If you were doing a planning process with your board and you have a plan that emerged from that, then please upload that. And you can put that either in the 3 digital images section or in the document upload section of the support materials tab. If you did a series of, if you did a play, then please share images of either the set construction or the performance or the post-performance or the community, the audience, watching the play, something that gives us a sense of what the project was and how it went. And then please upload a budget with your projects, the actual income and expenses for your project. So you're going to include the specific expenses on which you spent the cash from this grant award, and on which you spent the cash and in-kind contributions of your match for this award. So if we granted you $2,500 and you matched it with $500 in cash and $2,000 in in-kind contributions, we're going to want to see a budget that is at least $5,000 and quite possibly more. And we're going to want to see where the cash and where the in-kind contributions came in. We're also going to want to see where the income was. So you had an idea of where you might pull those in-kind contributions when you applied. Where did they actually come from? What was the actual volunteer time, if that's what you used? How many hours did you end up having contributed? Or what was the cash value of another contribution from your community, whether it was marketing piece from a local business or whatever. These are the income sources and the expense sources that we are looking for. And just take a look at the budget that you submitted when you put your application in, and then just kind of update it for this and use the actual numbers. Those were your projected numbers. That's what you expected to have happen. Now we're looking for what really happened. There may be additional expense items in your project final budget. There may be additional income sources in your final budget. Just let us know what that is and what those were. And as always, if you have any questions, please call Caitlin or me, and we can walk you through the specifics of your question. Right now, we're going to transition into walking you through the actual final report form.
So when you log in at wab.smartsimple.com, this will be the same location that you submitted your application originally. You will see a home screen that is much less chaotic than this one, but you should see under the requires attention section, at least one in progress item here. So when you open this up, your
You will
special,
only see one thing.
yes, you should only see
all
one.
of these things.
Your special award final report is what you're looking for when you open this up. And from here, this grantee summary is just carryover kind of boilerplate information from your original application and registration. You can click on right over to the details tab. So this is where you will enter your project start date and project end date. And the start date will likely be maybe June 1st and beyond. And project end date will be prior to December 31st, 2024. Karen, please confirm.
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great. And that'll include, that might be the day that your event wrapped up. That might be a week or so after, once you've had some time to evaluate, but we're going to let you enter that there, but it should just be before the end of the year. Project discipline is fairly straightforward here, but please select from any of these items in the drop-down list. And then type of activity, again, use the drop-down here to select the type of activity that was supported. And arts education. So if 50% or more of the funded activities were related to arts education, please indicate that here. And I should have said originally, these are fields that we report on to the NEA, so the National Endowment for the Arts. So that is where this specific language comes from for some of these fields. So artists.
I'm going to interrupt real quickly and just say, if some of the 50th anniversary granted projects did focus primarily on K through 12, and that's the kind of arts education that we're talking about here.
Yes.
So if you if your project was very definitely intended for the K through 12 audience, you're going to want to say more than 50%. If it was not, if students were involved, but they were just part of the mix, then you will say less than 50% of the funded activities are arts education. When you get to the artist directly involved section, we're looking for the number of artists who were ideally paid to provide services or experiences within the project. However, if it was a community theater project, and the intent of community theater is not to pay the artist, but there are artists involved on stage and set building, etc., we're looking for the number of people who do that. So the people who are providing the artistic experience with and for the community. That's the number of people we're looking for here. When we go to the next one, adults engaged in person arts experiences, then we're looking for the people who are in your audience or who came to participate in the workshop. And they may be community artists, but they're participating as recipients or of the project in a way. So anyway, those who are adults, that's the number we want to see there. And then if there are kids in the mix, in the audience or in the workshops or whatever, that's the number that we want to see here. So this is youth 0 to 18 years old who are engaged in that. All righty, populations benefited by age. You can check 2, maybe even 3 of these. Don't check all 4 probably, because what we're looking for here are the kind of a sense of the percentage of the people who engaged in your project. Was more than 25% of your audience comprised of kids 18 and under? If so, check it. Was more than 25% of the people who came to your workshops or, whatever, 65 and over? Great, check it. If you might check 3 of them, don't check all 4 because it's highly unlikely that you have an exact quarter split between the people who come to your project. So there's that. And then population benefited by distinct groups. Take a look at the list. There were a couple of projects that were very focused on veterans. So if that was you, then check that 5th box there, military veterans, active duty personnel. More likely, you did not focus your project on a single distinct group made up of more than 25% of the population, listed above. So most of you are going to check G there, no single distinct group. All right, artistic activity locations. Again, this is something that the National Endowment for the Arts really wants us to track. So what we're asking you to do is click on that purple box there. You'll have a pop-up come up, and this is where you're going to say, this is where that workshop that we held at the library happened. And this is, how many days that workshop series occurred, or this is where the play happened, or maybe you did a project that happened in 2 or 3 different places around your community. Then list those 3 locations and let us know how many days of the project happened at each of those locations. All righty.
Once you have completed the details tab, that's when you'll head over to the narrative tab and you will follow those instructions that you will receive or will have received via email at the time of the payment of the award. So the instructions that Karen walked you through in the previous slides, those will be the answers that you will enter here in this narrative box.
And as always, we encourage you to type out your answers on a separate document and then just copy and paste into this as well. That way you don't have to worry about trying to fit it into a small box. Although, Caitlin, can you show them how to expand the box just in case yeah. I mean, you can do that if you really want to. It's up to you.
And as you're working through, I should have said this before, you should hit save draft as you move through these tabs just to, especially with this narrative, if you're working in this text box, make sure you have everything saved.
And now we come to the budget tab, the budget summary tab. Here is where you're going to type in the grant amount you requested, which will probably be $2,500 for everyone here. The grant award that you were awarded, $2,500. And then the grant amount spent, again, $2,500. We hope that you will not have returned any grant amount, so we hope to see a 0 in that next box. Then we get to total actual cash income. This is the income that you brought in to support the project that you talked with us about and that this grant helped support. So the total amount of income will include your grant amount of $2,500 plus whatever else you have raised in cash to support the project. So that's the total amount of actual cash income. And then your total actual cash expenses will likely equal the total cash amount income so that your budget will balance. Your cash expenses will not include the expenses that you covered with in-kind contributions. Those are in-kind expenses. And that amount goes into that next box, which is total in-kind contributions. So all of the in-kind contributions that you gathered to support this project, whether that's volunteer hours, whether that is printing that someone donated, whatever that is, the cash equivalent of those contributions will go into this box. And again, you can look at the application that you submitted to see the in-kind amount that you put into your budget originally. This will likely be that amount, or it might exceed the amount that you originally proposed. All right.
Support material tab here is where you will, again, the instructions that Karen read through from the slides about uploading those 3 high-quality images, either about the process or product of your project, will be uploaded here. Once you've uploaded them, please be sure to use this properties tab to provide just a brief description, date the photo was taken, and the photographer for each. And then this additional support documents is where you will upload the budget that we've been referring to. And then finally, the certification tab is the final tab here, and you will, include the name of the person filling out this report, title, the date that you're completing the report, these 2 certification check boxes here, and then do your best to kind of scribble a signature in here. And at that point, you can, hit save draft and then go ahead and hit submit. And once you do that, if there are any issues, and it looks like there are not for this one, they will come up in red. The system will flag any fields that are missing or other requirements that need to be included. But that is the 50th anniversary grant award program final report.